And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count up to 37.
Oh!
The round gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
This week, SCT Truck Series is live from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway for the Bald Head Island Vacations 200. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and alongside me tonight, our producer and co-commentator, Morgan Cook, is going to be joining us for flag-to-flag coverage of 75 laps, 199.6 miles here tonight. And as we're finishing up qualifying, getting ready to grid, starting up front here tonight, we talked about the points, how tight it is, but starting up front after last week's win, the confidence boost. Nick Garner gets a big jump in the points. He's up 2 spots. Brian Hennings jumps up 4 spots, but Ross Phillips still maintaining the lead over Sean Langton, who has a 7-point gap between him. And I tell you, it's been a real toss-up here with some of these guys coming in late. Nick Gardner really turning on the heat to start out the playoffs, or the chase, if you will. And so all these drivers highlighted in yellow are playoff or championship eligible, but we could probably eliminate everybody from about 11th position down, because it's just such a big gap. It would take the entirety of the top 10 to fall off. So I think that what you're seeing here on your screen right now, that's probably going to be realistically from Jacob Daniels to Ross Phillips that have a chance. Maybe Rick Fagone, since he's tied with Jacob, but it's going to be really close all the way from top 5. These guys here from Disbro to Phillips are going to have to work really hard, not have a bad day here tonight at Talladega. The coin toss, the dice roll, that's what super speedway racing is. But let's take you down trackside now and show you your pole sitter of the night. We'll remove that points graphic from your screen.
Technical difficulties, everyone. Sorry about that. I'm here to push the buttons. Not doing a great job. That's not it.
All good. Let's take it on B-roll on grid here. And Nick Gardner is going to start on the pole here tonight. He's going to start with what I believe is a 58.854 lap time, maybe a 59. I can't quite read that graphic, but
55.884.
There we go. So very close there with Brian Hennings going to start on his outside. Steven Aguirre is going to start 3rd with Wade Palmer in 4th position. The number 5 of Ross Phillips will start in 5th with John Sanu outside in 6th position. Dakota Floyd 7th with Frank Zingen in 8th. Teresa Spiker starting 9th here tonight. And Justin Mullins will round out the top 10. 11th spot belongs to Justin Ritchie. There we go.
We got Jacob Daniels in 12th. Sorry about that, Bradley. Kyle Stewart will start 13th in the 41 truck. Sean Langton in 14th in the 8th. Got Todd Cleveland starting 15th. Dylan Disbro in the 16th. Thad Miller 17th. John Buell 18th in the 47. Randy Swale in the 00 starts 19th. Riley Laverne rolls off 20th. Rick Fagone starts in the 21st position. With Garrett Helmlinger in the 22nd spot, and I believe Benjamin Richards is rounding out the field in 23rd position.
Garrett Helmlinger is going to be actually off track. He was talking about racing here tonight, but decided to play track steward. And so Nick Gardner starting up front here as we take you down the number 16, who really turned up the heat there. He's going to start right next to Brian Hennings. The 2 biggest jumps in the points in the top 5, or top 10 rather, are going to start side by side. And Morgan, we both know it. Talladega, such a coin toss. It's going to be a good one. I think lots of changes for the lead. We saw a tight battle during qualifying. Hundredths of a second is what it's going to come down to. Pace car pulls off. Pace truck, rather. And Nick Gardner is going to lead them into turn 1 as he comes up on the Geico restart zone. And we're underway. SET Truck Series, the Bald Head Island Vacations 200 is live from Talladega. Get us some static cameras here on the entrance of turn 3.
Pretty orderly start so far.
Beautifully done, but I tell you, that jump that we saw, it was the 16 and I think it was Daniels. They all had jumped out. The top 6 had jumped out really far from the rest of the field. Now the accordion effect has come back. The draft pulls these guys back up here. But if you look at what these guys are doing right now, it looks like they're just taking their time. You see the push here by Hennings. Somehow Ross Phillips got around the 74, and now they're shoving the outside. You have Aguirre trying to push there on the bottom, but he's not really glued to Nick Gardner's bumper, and he needs to be.
Yeah, I got Gardner a little bit out of shape come out of turn 2, and that's going to allow the front 2 of that top lane to drop down and control this race. Now we'll see if the top lane can do it again and continue that leapfrog effect that you oftentimes see here at Talladega.
So let's bring that ticker up on your screen and show you the positions, the running order of these drivers. And let's switch over to race scene as well. We have a little bit of cropping issue here. Let's get this on full screen. And there we go. Now we're full live. I tell you, it's right now it's just stagnant field. These guys really not. You saw the 5 and the 74 able to clear, but that was the 818 that just didn't push Gardner to even compete with that outside line.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to get to manipulate the draft properly so that you're able to make forward ground. If you hit a guy in front of you too hard, you'll end up just getting both of you squarely, then you'll both fall back. It's a tricky thing we'll have to watch out all night here.
I want to show on the screen, we were talking about it last week, but something special going on. Let's check out the number 7 of Dylan Disbro and get a good zoom in view of that truck. And shades of Ricky Bobby out here for the number 7. The Wonderbread number 7. And there it is right there, full uniform, everything complete here for the 7. And I believe he had somebody else was planning on being a part of this as well. But I don't know that they joined the camera box. There should be another Old Spice themed machine out there right behind him. And that's the number 19.
Now let's
Laverne.
look at Riley Laverne here. He's got that same thing going on. And there he is. There's that 19 machine. Got the full fire suit and everything. That's one step extra.
That one is authentic. Even the backwards hat.
I like that. Look at that.
That is commitment.
Well,
and you can see him right here, keeping it on the outside. Lots of wheel movement there. If we get an onboard camera, you can see that this all matches up in real time. So from the helmet camera, you can see the movement of the wheel and how these trucks have turbulence and move around the racetrack to the bumps and everything going on. These drivers feel everything. The force feedback, it's as realistic as it gets.
You'll also notice if you're watching at home, he can't see very much at all. In fact, we have a better shot now than he would in the car. It's very difficult to see what's going on 3-4 cars in front of you, in your lane and in the lane beside you.
Yeah, very difficult. All you see is a face full of spoiler when you start shoving these guys back up to the lead, though, side by side with the 29 of Wade Palmer. He's trying to make a push here. He's got the 86 of John Sanu helping him up on the outside. And that looks like the 62 of Frank Zingen in the third slot there. He's gapped ahead of the 6 of Mullins. So we've completed 6 laps here out of 75. Clean and green so far. And your pole sitter, Nick Gardner, has fallen back to about the 6th position as these guys try to get the outside developed again. You're going to see a lot of this here tonight where the outside will get a big run. They'll be able to clear the inside. But it's just a cycle where cars will get up front and then the next group comes. And then the guy that maybe was leading the race 10 laps ago ends up back in 8th. It's when the last 10 laps of the race happens that you're not going to see this kind of organization. 3 wide here. The 86 gets shuffled out of position, and now 4 wide as they go into 1. And they're trying to make it work. Sanu is not lifting. The 29 of Palmer gets down into the 72, and they somehow make it through it.
9 times out
Sanu
of
left
10,
out to dry.
that's a huge caution. Almost every time. I'm really impressed that they were able to go 4 wide for that entire corner and keep them all pointed in the right direction.
It came close, the 72 and the 62. Several different drivers made contact. The 29 also doors the side of the 72. All the way back through. Johnson, who falls all the way back to the 19th position. And that was just one little mistake where he got shuffled out of line and everybody jumped on it.
Yeah, you have to be aggressive at these super speedway races or else you just simply won't survive. If you're always cautious, you'll end up at the back and you'll never be able to make your way forward through the, through the field. One thing to note is you're probably noticing some fairly heavy hitters in this race who are not up at the front. Sean Langton comes to mind immediately in the 8. He's all the way back here, making a run up through the field. This is race 3 of 5 in the championship. There's a big battle for the lead up at the front here. Let's get back to that. But there's a big battle for the championship right now. We're on race 3, and most of that top 11, like Bradley was talking about, have a chance to win the championship on points. So nobody here wants to remove themselves from a championship in race 3, right? You just want to be smooth and clean and make your way through Talladega and end up with a chance to win it all in a few weeks.
Al Mountain Jr. and Ricky Bobby trying to develop a third line back there from about 10th position, but not able to get anything going. They had the momentum for a moment. The 29 of Palmer jumped up in front of them. And I can tell you that with the tight 7-point deficit there with Langton, you were just talking about how you have to be aggressive at super speedways, at these plate tracks. If you come in here cautiously, a lot of drivers come in cautious because they're afraid of getting involved in an accident. And when we talk about accidents, at Talladega, it's entirely different because you're so on top of each other. You can create a big one. And these drivers that are sitting in the back right now trying to avoid that, sometimes it puts you in a worse situation. When you're trying to avoid a wreck, you will usually end up in one.
Yeah, that's also been my experience, although I am typically a run at the back kind of person for the first 70 of 75 laps. Then on that last 5, it's a mad dash to the front. It's worked out to mediocre success for me, but there aren't many people who have the formula figured out for how you drive these places, and a lot of people don't have a formula. They just go out here, hold it wide open, and turn it to the left.
Yeah, you gotta pray, and most of it's luck. And like we talked about the dice roll here at Talladega, it's always up to grab. Any driver in this pack right now could win this race. It's just a matter of surviving until that white flag and then trying to go for it at the end. I know that in my experience, I never want to be in the lead on that last lap because I know that everyone behind me isn't going to work with me. It's very, very rare that you find someone that's willing to push you all the way around the track on the white flag. Side by side again, Hennings finds his way back out there beside the guy he originally pushed up to the lead. Now getting help from Zingen, and these guys glued on the bumpers. Nick Gardner now giving a little shove to Phillips. And it looks like Gardner's pretty content. He hasn't really been forcing the issue with trying to get around anybody or lead any laps. He's been running up here in the top 5, and he's staying to it.
And he's another one of those guys who he's just running for points right now. He doesn't need to lead laps. He just has to stay up at the front, don't get cycled to the back, and just don't get caught up in anything.
Langton's starting to make some headway. He's got Disborough in front of him. A little shuffle there. Not sure what happened to the 5, but we're 3 wide again for the lead, and Henning's all the way up on the outside. He might get left out to dry. Disbro's going to come up, and big momentum here for the 7. So we can swap the camera. There we go. And contact Mullins pinching down. 3 wide now into 1 and 2. That breaks the momentum of the 7 and the 8. And now the 5 of Phillips comes up in front of Hennings. And man, they are trying so hard, diving down to the bottom for Mullins. He finds a hole in front of the 47 of Buell. It's getting chaotic here mid-pack, and the 6 just needs to find a line. He needs to stick with it.
I almost think the 6 got turned off the nose of the 72, and that's why he made that big dive down the track. That's what it looked like anyway. It could have been an evasive maneuver. Regardless, it works out for him, and he found his line. We got some
and it looked
ice
like
in
the
here.
74 wasn't ready. The 5 jumped down to the bottom into the middle line. That's going to open it up again now for Disbro and Langton to get this third line going. They had so much momentum coming, and then Hennings jumped up in front of them. These guys are playing the line game here, but it's not working. Every time they jump out of line, they're losing all that momentum. They have to regain it. So the 5 and the 74 moving around like they are in a car off the racetrack back there. It looks like
That's
that might be the
Zinjan,
6 of
Mullins,
Mullins.
and Buell all went off the track at the same time. Strange. Not really sure what happened there, but they all sorted it out, and they're still going straight.
Looking back here at the number 41, I do believe. That's Kyle Stewart. Stewart started, I believe we have a graphic for you on the pop-up here. I can tell you where he started. There it is. Started in 13th here tonight, currently running in 15th. But another one of those drivers that's running for points. He's up here in the top 10 in points now. I believe 8th position when we showed tonight. And, you know, another one of those drivers that is finally having the finishes he deserves and putting it together here in the chase.
It has not been the best season for Kyle, certainly as a teammate of his. I've seen the ups and downs of his season, but he's turning it on as of late. We've got some top 10s rolling here, and hopefully he can do well for the rest of these races, just like everyone else in the field. You know, hopefully everyone here can have a good race and no one ends up on the hook.
So the momentum swing, now it looks like the outside, that third line starting to develop again, but the 72 of Daniels looks like he kept peeking up there. And I think the best thing for the 7 and the 8 right now is they just need to keep it off the back bumper of whoever jumps up in front of them. You're seeing it again here. The 72 jumps up, and it's just stopping that outside line. They're not getting anything going. I think maybe this time the 72 had a pretty clean transition. They might be able to get up there nose to nose. Here's the 70 up in the front. Teresa Spiker for the first time this season, maybe going to lead a lap on the outside of Nick Gardner. Here they come off of turn 4. It's going to be door to door through the tri-oval. And a big shove here from the 74 of Hennings. It's going to be close here at the line, but I believe Spiker's going to get this lap.
She got him.
So lap 15, change for the lead. The number 70 up front. VRX Simulators, Teresa Spiker, and Brian Hennings in the 74. Working well together here. On the bottom, though, Nick Gardner. Aguirre, again, not glued. He's better this time than he was at the start of this race. But doesn't look like he's quite committed to pushing like Hennings is with Spiker, like Disbro is with Daniels. It just doesn't look like the 818 is meeting up with the 16. Maybe it's the line, maybe it's on the off the throttle. Some drivers aren't very confident when they have to shove too hard.
I've definitely never been a good pusher when it comes to these drafting style racetracks. I'm far more of a leader than a pusher. I don't really like the style of racing at all anyway. I always seem to find myself into the fence. How do you feel about this style of racing, Bradley?
It's an art, it's a craft. Anybody that says it's talent and just hold, you know, I've heard all the stories of people saying, well, that's not true racing, that's just holding it wide open. No, there's a whole different craft. When you go to a mile and a half racetrack and you have to lift in the corners, That's one craft. Now you come here, and it's all about timing, finding the hole, surviving to the end, staying in the slipstream, making smart moves, pitting together, working with a teammate. There's so many other things that come into play with the pack racing that is Talladega and Daytona, and recently Atlanta. You could put that in the same caliber, and side-by-side Gardner's going to get it this time, but you can see these guys all working together right now, and now they're planning their strategy. What are they going to pit together? On and off pit road at this racetrack, you're coming from 190 miles per hour down to 55, 60 miles per hour, all within about 1,000 feet.
That's a big possibility for an accident if you have somebody who doesn't slow down as much as the car in front of them, or you try and pit from the top lane and drag it across the racetrack. Really high probability for a crash at that moment coming off turn 4 right here when the green flag pit stops do happen. I don't know if it'll happen today, just because we have 25 cars here. Should be enough communication happening to not have those kind of issues, but time will tell here, and I would estimate probably 5 to 10 laps we start having green flag pit stops.
You'll start to see the inside line single file out when these guys decide that it's time to come down pit road, but right now the battle for the lead starting to subside a little bit. Spiker not getting quite the push that she was before, but here's a little resurgent as they go into 3. And another thing that adds to the craft that we were talking about, the timing of when you push a driver. And so a lot of times you're not really shoving them through the turns. You're on the bumper, but you're not pushing. And so that'll still cut the hole in the air, but you want to find that happy medium of where you meet up to that bumper at the exit. And you see Spiker going up a little bit too high here. That's another thing that's part of the craft, is not using the turbulence, getting out of shape. You see now 3 wide here. We got a lap truck of Thad Miller. He's falling back a little bit here. So there's a tough break there for the 13. I'm not sure if he had connection issues or had a problem at the start of this race, but he is 3 laps down. Problems for the 13 here. He's going to fall back in line, but I think the way they're going right now, Morgan, it looks like they might do green flag pit stops. It's single file and out, so I think it's going to calm down, and these guys, really good side draft there by the 70, going to get the lap lead. Oh, that's close. Nope, 16 got it again. That was really close. She took it over right after the line.
That's how you have to do it sometimes. It's got to be, got to be aggressive. Like we were saying earlier, you can't just drive in a perfectly straight line with someone pushing you and expect that everything's going to work out. You got to do a little bit on your own, side draft and pinch someone every now and then, and it almost worked out for the 70 that lap.
Little pinch down, getting aggressive here. We're 21 laps in, so about a third of the way through this race. Let's say right now it's Nick Gardner and Teresa Spiker. The show goes on. Nick Gardner been pretty consistent. He's had Steve behind him for about, I'd say, all 21 laps. The 818's done a fantastic job of keeping Nick Gardner in position here. But you notice what I said is happening. The inside line starting to single file out. That outside has fallen apart entirely. Hennings and Spiker are the only two really up here. And then you have Palmer a little bit further back with Rick Fagone, a name we haven't mentioned yet tonight, the number 10 on the outside. But these guys are trying to find a hole so they can get down to pit road.
Yeah, the pay window is opening, as Larry Mack would say. About to be coming down pit road. Should be a busy place here in the next few laps. Aggressive move for the 29 across the nose of the 9 truck.
He's trying to find a hole. And we talked about the partnerships. Some of these guys are dedicated to pitting with their teammates. And if he's coming down pit road, you've got to find a spot now. Spiker out of shape there. Falls all the way back. Behind Thad Miller here, they're going to be about the 8th position when she gets back in line. Not sure what happened, but she got shoved up the racetrack, or maybe just tracked it out a little too far. Now Henning's getting a big push from Fragone, and there they go, cleared for the lead. Langton gonna try to follow suit. I don't think he's clear, but I think Gardner lifted for him, cut him a break. So now Henning's on the point in the 74. Remember, Henning started on the outside here today in second position. And here comes the flood of cars down pit road. Oh, we got two of them going around. That's Richie, I believe. And the 19 of Laverne. Todd Cleveland is still hitting the Kyle Stewart, and Laverne gets turned again. Oh no, the 19.
And we stay green because we're on pit road, but that's some pretty heavy damage on the 55, I think I saw. We'll be probably taking a faster pair right now. And yeah, the 19 got used as a pinball. Yeah, that's a tough
Let's
start.
go back on the instant replay and see if we can get a different angle of that.
Working on it again, technical difficulties. Let's go one more here. There we go.
So, yeah, here's the flood of cars coming down pit road, and you can see the big check up there by the 9. The 55 of Richie starts this. He locks up the tires because he cuts to the inside of the 9. And then, unfortunately, Todd Cleveland just mows back into the 41 of Stewart, and Laverne just couldn't catch a break through all of that. He had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's unfortunate when it happens that way. He's still on pit road, but let's see who we have.
I believe he got an unsafe pit entry
That would
for
make
being
sense.
sideways. Maybe an involuntary. We want to make sure that we're caught back up to live because the 74 of Hennings is still out here on the racetrack. I think everyone is cycled through now. We're riding with Dakota Floyd. Here comes Hennings on the outside. And they freight train just right on by. Had all that speed. I think the 10 and the 24 should be able to catch the slipstream here of the 5 if they get up on each other's bumpers. It takes some really good shoving. And they also have another tandem of cars behind them. I believe it's either John Sanu or Jacob Daniels. I believe that's the 86 behind him. Yeah, John Sanu and Frank Zingen. So they're catching up. They'll have a 4-car tandem, and then no reason they shouldn't be able to catch up here to Hennings, Aguirre, Gardner, and Phillips.
Yeah, so long as they're efficient, they'll get there. Just keep it all single file, and it's all about that third car and Zingen not peeking to the outside. But if that third car can just stay close enough to the 10 to keep them engaged, then they will be able to creep forward on that lead pack. Gotta get a little closer than that, though, or else they're gonna start falling back.
So the 86 of Sanu, the 62 of Zingen are going to dictate whether this tandem of cars is able to catch up or not. If you look up here at Nick Gardner, he's glued right up on the back of the 818, so a lot closer. And the 5 is a little bit further back, and I know that we talk about pack racing, but after green flag pit stops, sometimes you'll have breakaways, and after what we saw happen with the 19 and the 41, the 55 on pit road, that's what causes that. These guys have an accident that doesn't bring out a caution, and then they find themselves in a situation where they're 6-7 seconds back from the lead. Justin Ritchie in the 55, who actually has some right front damage on that machine, trying to catch up to Dylan Disbrow right here in the 11th position, but they're about 2.5 seconds back. That pack is catching up, though. They have caught up. I think the 16 of Gardner stepped out of line here. Something happened. He's left out completely to dry, and now Disbrow and Palmer are going to move to the outside. They're going to try to start this second line. Look at the momentum they have going up here.
Little shake
Look
and
at him
bake.
coming up from the outside. What a move. They just picked up 8 positions here for the 29 and the 7. They're going to challenge for the lead here coming out of turn 2. Palmer has the push by Disbrow. And Hennings the push by Aguirre, and they're side by side down the backstretch. That was some shake and bake. Slingshot engaged. And they're picking up the 19 of Laverne, who got the worst end of all that pit road catastrophe. It's right on board with the 7 and show you what he's got going on. So, Disbro looking like a little bit of turbulence there. He's got his mechanics wear gloves on. Not exactly sure what that says, but I'm going with mechanics wear and the full attire. He was smart, though. He didn't do the fire suit. His looks a little more cool. I don't think he's sweating quite as much. Oh, and that's not good. The 29 blinking. That's not going to help.
Doesn't seem to affect Disbro, though. He's driving up through the field here. 29's going to go down. Not quite enough to clear the 74. Got close, but close isn't going to cut it here.
Side by side. They lose about half a car here. Now going to try to resurgence on the outside again. That inside line is definitely faster in the turns, but if you can get a good run off the exit, like Palmer just did with the push from Disbro, it looked like they might be able to get it. Take it back to TV2. You can see this pack has grouped all back up here. You've got about 12 trucks back into this group. We'll go back to the number 10 of Rick Fagon to be the last car in this line in 11th position. So Fagon made a pretty good push there right before green flag pit stops. He was able to get up front, but now finds himself back in 11th, 10th spot. It's one of those up and down days. Maybe just not trying to be up front until the very end. You think maybe he was just testing the water to see if that was possible?
I also think he was part of the that melee coming down to pit road. I think he had to do some evasive maneuvering and some real slowing down to avoid, having an issue like Laverne did, and just fell back a little bit. But luckily enough, he was able to catch up back to the lead pack. And when you're in the lead pack, anything can happen, and everything will be just fine. Yep, I think that's what happened. But I mean, he did his job earlier. He tested out to see if he could make it all the way up to the front. He did. Now he knows he can do it again.
So the 74 of Brian Hennings, your leader here. We're on lap 31 out of 75. You're watching the Bald Head Island Vacations 200 from Talladega Superspeedway in the SCT Truck Series. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back on VSPEED right after this. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit, a custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started. Back here live from Talladega Super Speedway. 75 laps. We have completed 33 of those. We're coming up on the halfway point and a battle for the lead. We have some drivers that are a lap down trying to get back up on the lead lap. You got the 19 of Riley Laverne. The number 8 of Sean Langton getting it back the old-fashioned way. And And the leader officially is the 62 of Frank Zinjan. He's up on the outside of these two that are trying to get their laps back. The 8 and the 19 worked together to get up through that. You see the little bit of door damage on the 19. So if you're just joining us, green flag pit stops commenced. And the 19 of Riley Laverne got caught up in a three-way wreck with the 41 and the 55. That's Stewart and Richie. And you can see probably the only driver that got away with all of that was Richie, surprisingly, and he was the one that locked it up the worst.
And he also had the worst damage. He's got some pretty heavy right front damage. You can almost see it from here on that 55 machine. On the right
Yeah, the front.
Yeah,
Front end of that
right
thing
there.
is definitely caved in, yep.
That is not aerodynamically optimal, but if you're in a pack like this, you will be just fine. As the leader, you're going to struggle, but in the pack, you'll be okay.
Yeah, he just needs to hang with these boys. Maybe if they get a caution, he could come down and get it. It's probably, 30, 40 seconds of optional repair. They just need to pull that fender back out and get it away from that tire and get it back up to speed. It shouldn't hurt the performance of the engine too much. But another thing with front end damage that we don't really think about unless we're behind somebody, that radiator gets pushed in, or that grill inlet isn't quite shaped like it was. These trucks will overheat a lot faster. So that's another thing that maybe Richie he's fast, he's still okay on speed, but he might be overheating and having to keep a good little pocket of air in front of him. I always liked on the old damage model where if you got that mysterious damage, the 0Xs that didn't really count towards contact, but did give you front end damage, and then after 6 laps, it shows its face because you just blow up and you had no idea that your truck was even beat up.
I'm glad they updated. That's before my iRacing time, but yeah, that would be really unfortunate as somebody, second place in the race, all of a sudden engine just goes pop. Nice to have a little bit of warning beforehand.
2008 Daytona before the repave and the new, the legacy Daytona. You know how bumpy that place is.
Yep.
The COT cars would bounce the oil pan off the racetrack and pop motors. Those were great damage days, I tell you. Nothing more frustrating than hitting that bump that Juan Pablo created in turn 3 and blowing the engine.
Yeah, that's rough. Could not imagine just losing based on setup because the setup's too low. That's a real bummer way to have your day end.
So Langton and Laverne, kudos to them. They've stayed up here in the lead. They're showing that they have the speed and they deserve to be up here. But after those pit stops, unfortunately, they end up back here. And I'm not sure what happened to the Ada Langton during the green flag pit stops. I don't think he was part of that first group that came in. So I'm not sure how he got cycled back here so far. Maybe a speeding penalty on pit road. Not entirely sure. But Frank Zinjan, your leader, in the number 62 on the outside. He has Brian Hennings on the inside. Ross Phillips in second, third, trading back and forth. All the way back to the top 5 is Wade Palmer, the number 29. We kept it clean and green for 38 laps. And are you sorry you didn't get out here tonight, Morgan? I know you're like, I know how this is going to go, but it looks like it's been pretty clean so far.
Yeah, I do wish I was in the seat. Certainly, I'm sitting in my sim rig right now, but I do wish I had the steering wheel in my hands and not the keyboard and stream deck. But here we are live on VSPEED, and I'm still glad to be here.
You know that I feel the itch to race when I see action like this, but then I get out on the track and realize that I ran out of talent about 6 years ago, and so it quickly reminds me that I do a better job up here. And these guys doing a phenomenal job here tonight for 39 laps. They've kept it clean. We even had, and the 8 of Langton goes around. There it is, the caution. We talked about it, and we talked it into existence. The yellow flag is out for the first time tonight.
I will tell you what, that was an incredible job of this 8 truck not wrecking the entire field. Let's go back and have a look at that.
He did a 360 on the exit of turn 2 and then right back to, yeah. Backing up about 10 more seconds here.
There, let's just watch the whole turn 1 and 2 here. So a little bit of a Riley gets to his inside here a little bit. Right there, gets him up the track and then just finishes him off, but should have hit Disbro right there and didn't. And everyone else behind him scattered appropriately. And
Let's go on board with the 8 and
Let's do
see
it.
what his wheel did on that gyro camera.
let's do it.
Just kept it straight and kept it on throttle, I guess.
Yeah, it's that easy sometimes. Don't need to overthink it when you're dead sideways.
Yeah, some drivers would have tried to lock up or lift off the throttle. He just floored it and took it to the bottom of the racetrack. Good move there by the 8. And that's going to commence our first yellow of the night.
The unfortunate part about that, though, for the 8 and the 19 is even though they were the first 2 cars and they theoretically got their laps back, they were both involved in that caution. So any lucky dogs would go to the next car behind them. And I believe they were behind Zinjin when the spin happened. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes to timing and scoring.
And the 6 of Mullins would be the next one eligible for that if it hands out. I think these guys are probably going to... Well, the 19 comes down. They're coming down pit road. I think they're in a spot where fuel is just to make it to the end. They're going to have to come down.
There's your leader, Frank Zinjin, hitting his stall.
Like he missed it a little bit, had to back up.
See how bad that affects him on the exit here. See if Phillips can get him or Hennings or anyone else in this frame here. Should be leaving. Oh, there goes the 818. Really nice job off pit road for the 818.
And Zinjin might have gotten a speeding penalty.
Yeah, he's holding. He's losing all the spots. Something must have happened to that 62 truck. So leader's all the way back out on the racetrack.
Yeah, speeding penalty for the 62.
Tough time for that. Although, if you want to speed at one track, it's probably this one. It's definitely not the most difficult place to pass back up through the field with 35 to go.
And if there was a time to do it, it would be under caution where you don't lose an entire lap, because it is very difficult to go a lap down at this racetrack. But if you want to do it, speed on pit road. That's one way to get a lap down.
Yeah, do not speed under green, ever, anywhere. If you're gonna speed, do it under caution, or just don't speed at all. That's that's a good rule.
Yeah,
as well.
I guess that would be the number one rule on that.
Yeah. You want to know why I went to the back of the pack last week? Sped on pit road. It was under yellow, but still, I did it. Yeah, don't do it.
Sometimes it's hard to judge when you can cheat those timing marks, and a guy in front of you might pull out and get up to 38, 39 miles per hour when it's a 35. But he'll hit the brakes and you follow him right up into it. You get the penalty, he doesn't. It's always been my Achilles heel is hitting pit road under green. I've lost a lot of races doing that.
Yeah, my issue last week was I qualified second, so I had pit stall 2 and launched without lifting off of pit road and didn't realize that I needed to be in the first pit stall to be able to launch all the way off pit road with no speeding penalty. So I was 5 over by the time I got to the line.
Yeah.
No chance to slow down, opt for a penalty. So tough deal, but don't speed on pit road, kids. That's the best advice I can give you with iRacing.
And don't pass the leader in the restart zone. And we don't really know what that means, but it tells us not to do it. So
right. Also, don't speed up to the restart zone. Don't know what that means either, but don't do it. Really hard as that outside truck to not do that, especially at a short track. Here, it's not a problem because you're on a straightaway, but a track like last week at wherever we were last week, I don't remember. Nashville, thank you. With the curve out of turn 4, if you're running the same speed, the car on the outside drags it back quite a ways, but I digress. We're at Talladega this week.
Super Speedway Racing, first caution of the night here. And I'm curious how many lead changes we've had tonight, because we've seen quite a few of them. We know we have only had one caution. In our race recap, 16 lead changes in those 42 laps. It's been a good one so far. Doubled back up, getting ready to go back green. Lights are out on the pace truck. And we're going to go back with about 33 laps to go when the green flag comes out. Steven Aguirre in the 818, Ross Phillips in the number 5, Brian Hennings, Wade Palmer, Justin Ritchie, the top 5. Then you have Dylan Disbro with Kyle Stewart, Dakota Floyd, John Snow, and Randy Saleh going to round out that top 10. So 62 of Frank Zengen gets that speeding penalty, falls all the way back to the 12th position.
A little too soon. There's Barney. I didn't realize how far away the tri-oval was from where they are. Should be coming into it. There they are. Sorry about that, everyone.
And yeah, I mean, Talladega unique in that aspect where the start-finish line is on the exit of pit road. It's all the way on the other side of the tri-oval, and a lot of drivers have lost races due to that fact. We're 3 wide here for the lead on this restart. The 5 of Phillips gets shuffled completely out of line. You can see him there on the left-hand side. He falls all the way back to 8th position, 10th spot almost. He's going to fall in line behind Teresa Spiker as they go down the backstretch side by side with Hennings and Aguirre for the lead. I'll tell you what, the 55 of Ritchie, I don't know if he got that damage fixed. Doesn't look like he did. And a car out of shape there. That's the 86 of Sanu down on the bottom of the track, but we're still clean and green. He's coming down pit road. Maybe a problem here for the 86. But back up to the front battle. The 74 of Hennings getting pushed by that 55, and you can still see that right front damage. It doesn't seem to be affecting him too bad. There's Buell on the outside in third. He's coming up on the number 6 of Mullins going to push, and the 62 of Zengen said, I don't care, I had a speeding penalty, I'm back up in the top 5. Double contact with the 74, and Mullins doesn't have a hole. He keeps trying to make it work, though. And he's trying it again. It is not there.
That should have been 3 or 4 cautions right there. That was tight. You got to be leery of that left rear when you're trying to drive down across somebody's nose. It's really easy to get turned. That's what happened to Sean in our first caution. But luckily, everyone was able to make it out of that.
So John Buell leading his first laps of the season, I do believe, in the 47 up front on point. Very unorganized lines here. The inside, probably the most organized. There's the 00 Saleh. But they're still 3 wide for the lead. Zengen trying to push Mullins. Saleh's going to get a good shove down the backstretch. Hennings is clear, but he's not going to drop down in front of the 47. He's going to stick with that 00 who pinches down on the 47 here. Ritchie, he doesn't know where he wants to go. He ends up falling all the way back. He pushed the 74 Hennings up here, but now he's back to the about 10th position. Another head of steam building on the inside line. You can see how everybody's just cycling around. Can't decide who they're going to go with. Teresa Spiker out of nowhere in the 70 truck. Works up into the top 3 there for just a moment. The 00 drops down in front of her. She's led some laps here tonight. She's still looking to lead more. 7 of Disbro. Thought maybe he had the 29 of Palmer going with him. He has nobody. 41 of Stewart will catch up to him eventually, but no, he's going to drop down a line. Nobody wants to go with the 7. Oh, contact the 9. I don't know what just happened there. But he came down across. He's going to go back up onto the racetrack. Let's get an instant replay of that. I think he hit Mullins. I'm not sure who he came down and door slapped, but it was harsh. Have to back it up a little bit here. It was the 9 that bounced. It was Benjamin Richards.
Sorry, something is not working here. Apologies for that. We're not able to replay. Don't know what's going on.
Let's take it back to a live shot. Make sure that we don't have any hide UI or auto applies checkboxed. Take it back to the race scene as well. Our controller is broken for the replays. We apologize for that, but the number 9 of Richards almost took out 7 cars. He came down the field after getting cleared on the outside and jumped down, and I thought for sure he was taking somebody with him. He drove across 3 lanes of traffic into the door of someone, and I think it might have been Mullins. I'm not exactly sure, but he bounced him so hard enough that I don't know how they didn't spin out.
It definitely was Mullins, and it's a good thing that happened off the exit of 4, where you have that wide area and coming to pit road that's nice and flat. Mullins was able to keep it corrected, and he also did not get a penalty coming to pit road, which was good for that 6 truck. The bad news is that he's going to lose the draft completely, although he's already a lap down. Now he'll be 2 laps down.
The number 6 back to 21st position. We have 4 trucks that are at least 1 lap down. Sean Langton in the number 8, Jacob Daniels in the 72, Riley Laverne in the 19 is 2 laps down, and as you mentioned, Justin Mullins 2 laps down as well. Rick Fagone is going to be the last truck on the lead lap, and actually Johnson knew. My timing and scoring is all kinds of confused now. I got rid of the... There it is. Okay, we're working again. 17th position, Johnson knew. He has 49.3 seconds. He doesn't have a partner out here on the racetrack, and I want to say this lead group's probably going to catch him within the next 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, if you recall, coming right off of that restart, he had to pit for something, so he had no partner, and yeah, he's a sitting duck right now.
Might have been playing the fuel strategy. I don't know if he just had the calculations correct. Auto fuel sometimes will just give you what it can fit in there, just enough to get you to wherever you set it to go. And he might have been short, or in a scenario where if he pits on that lap, he can make it to the end, and these other drivers will have to come down. But that's such a gamble because the 86 comes down by himself. He has no help. He's losing time now after that pit stop.
And you will burn more fuel by yourself than you will in a pack. So that's a real gamble to do that. Your auto fuel calculations will be set off of you being in the pack and not out by yourself unless you've led the whole race. Yeah, interesting. I think it was a penalty of some sort. That'd have to be my guess. I don't think they can even make it if they pitted right now. I think they'd still be a lap or 2 short.
Maybe a pass-through penalty for passing under yellow on the restart.
Yeah, could be something
to
like
that effect.
Right.
With the 86 getting past there on the inside, side by side for the lead. Still, Zinjan somehow goes from 11th up to the top 3 within a couple laps. He's still up here in 3rd. There's a 74 of Hennings down on the bottom with the 818 of Aguirre. I tell you what, the consistency here with the 818, and if I recall correctly, he was a winner in one of our other restrictor plate tracks.
He won at Vegas. Richie, same color car, won at Atlanta. But Aguirre was a threat at Daytona and Atlanta earlier this season.
Okay, so I knew the 818 had a victory, but I didn't know if it was in here or what track. But here we go. Down to the inside again. Zinjan on the outside with Palmer. The 5 of Phillips, your points leader. Able to survive so far. We're coming up on the closing laps of this race. And I'm still waiting on Kyle Naughton Jr. and Ricky Bobby to figure this out. This is their home track. Why are they not up here? There, I mentioned it, and here they come. The 7 of Disbro on the outside, doesn't get any help. He's wanting to make these moves, and then contact with the 62. That throws the 818 in a big wreck. It happens here on lap 52. 5 different trucks involved in it. The 86 of Sanu, the 62 is smoking. The 7 of Disbro gets caught up in it.
Let's see what happens, shall we? Another one. There we go. All right, big push from the 29. Everything's looking good here. 5 drops down a little bit on the 29. I think it spooked him just a touch.
Well, he goes up to the outside, so they
Oh,
get through the
nice.
3 wide, but he gets into the back
There it
of the
is.
62.
Yeah, the 5 just gave him a shot in a place that the 62 wasn't expecting, and obviously we all know what happens when that, when you do that, you get a bunch of blown motors and cars all over the racetrack. That is a tough break for those guys.
So the 5 of Phillips getting into the back of the 62, and that probably will do it for the 62. I think he might have already had to use a fast repair because of the chaos that happened on the green flag pit stops. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. But I think the 62 of Zinjin's probably going to be done for the day.
Yeah, unfortunate. That truck is mangled right now. I'm surprised he's even able to keep pace with it smoking that bad. I imagine it'll let go here shortly. Yeah, tough break. He put on a really good race today, and he was a threat to win this thing.
I'm looking through my timing screen. It says 0R for FR. I think he's going to have 1 fast repair. So he's definitely going to have to use it because that truck's probably got another 5 miles left to the service shop before he's done.
That's generous. 5 miles is pretty generous, Bradley.
It just went 2.66. It got back around it.
Let's see.
We're here on pit road. I think he's going to be okay.
As we catch up with the rest of the field, we're missing fenders. We got fenders bent in. The numbers are scraped off the door. Typical Talladega race.
The battle off of pit road.
Yep, 62 is back and ready to go. I got the fast repair.
74 Brian Hennings is going to be up front after pit stops. Look like a fuel-only stop for Brian Hennings. Dakota Floyd, Ross Phillips, and I'm not sure if they'll give an EOL to the 5 or not.
I guess
We'll have
we
to
will
wait and see on that.
find out, but it looks like the top 12 all took fuel only. Kyle Stewart, the 41, was the first car to take tires. But he was also involved in that accident. So was the 00. I believe the 10, 62, 72, and 8 were all involved in that. So yeah, they would all need tires because they just, squealed theirs for, hundreds of feet off of turn 4.
So here we go for another restart, 3rd time tonight. And the 818, who was partially involved in that, still somehow up here in the top 5. He does not use his fast repair. You have 3 different drivers that did use fast repairs, 4 drivers rather. You have Palmer, Richards, Disbro had to use his, the 62 of Zinjin, obviously, and then Sean Langton, also involved in that, had to use his fast repair. And that doesn't help the 8's case because every caution that's come out that he would be wave around or lucky dog eligible, he's been involved in it.
And I can tell you from experience, he is not somebody who enjoys this style of racing. He's much more of a 1.5 mile short track road course ace, as we've seen all year. He's always up at the front. These drafting style tracks are not his favorite, not his cup of tea, as he often finds himself caught up in somebody else's mayhem.
That's typically how it goes, I think, for everybody that doesn't like this kind of racing is you always find yourself in somebody else's mess. You're just out here for points. You don't want to push the issue, or heck, for the most part, I don't know that most of these guys have the urge to get up here and lead a lap unless it's the very last one. So they just want to ride around until the very end, and That's what happens. You get caught up in something else happening on the racetrack. Other people have other plans. That's what I always talk to my wife about. I said, I know I'm a good driver, and I'm talking about it in just regular world. I'm a defensive driver. It's the other people around me that I can't trust. You can be the best driver in the world, but if you've got 23, 24 other people that have a different mentality about things, it can make your day really tough.
Spoken like a true restrictor plate racer.
So here we go. Double back up. Third time here tonight. We've had a relatively clean race. We got some green flag pit stops. We've had big wrecks. We've had a little bit of everything that Talladega has to offer. Now let's see if we can get a photo finish with about 20 laps to go when they take the green.
Oh, still not in the tri-oval. Jeez, this place is big.
It's a large one. But Barney's got the green flag up in the air. We're back live and racing. And Hennings leads them into turn one with the 5 of Phillips on the back bumper. Big jump out to the start. They're way ahead of the rest of the pack, and the 24 of Floyd has no help from Aguirre. He might want to drop down to the inside. And he does. Now moving to the outside is the 24. He had Palmer, who shoved him out of line. So Palmer acted like he wanted to go to the outside and then jump back down to the bottom, and Floyd gets hung out to dry. Now has the 818 to push him. One of the few constants that we've had up here in the top 5 is that 818. Let's see if he can get up there. Phillips jumps to the outside of Hennings. He's looking to take away the lead here. And he'll get the momentum from the 24. Now Floyd moves to the outside. These guys cannot decide who they want to go with, and this is looking like another caution could be breeding. They're working on it, Morgan.
Yeah, 3 wide does not typically last long. Buell bails out. Probably a wise decision, but they're working on it.
Up here on the front, these guys are shuffling all over the place. You got the 818 diving to the inside of the 5 of Phillips now to try to take away the lead. The 74 of Hennings going to get up on the back bumper. They have the momentum now that the 818 could lead the lap. He jumps up in front of the 5 now. And they're trying to control the tempo of this race. I guarantee you that's what this guy's trying to do. But the 5 of Phillips, now Palmer back up onto the racetrack. They're still trying to wreck it, and the 16's involved. We're staying green. No, now the yellow comes out. Another truck. I believe Palmer looped it back around a second time, back up on the race surface.
That was wild. Let's go back and have a look at that.
You can see the 818 goes up in front of the 5 of Phillips, and Phillips just doesn't even care. He just drives it in between the two of them. 818 gets up out of line and then pinched down on the 29 of Palmer. I think Palmer wrecked this thing the entirety of the front stretch before it finally hit the wall. And then he brings it to pit road. And I believe that's going to do it for the 29. Palmer had already used his fast repair, so he's pretty much done for the day. But 59 laps out of 75 in the caution cars, breeding caution cars. You're going to see another one probably before the end of this thing. It's going to get really exciting. We're going to take another quick commercial break live here on VSPEED, the SCT Truck Series, Bald Head Island Vacations 200 from Talladega Superspeedway. We'll be back right after this. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life, so don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit. to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit. A custom tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point. Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Oh, big wiggle. And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, doubling back up for the 4th time here tonight. We've had 4 cautions. Well, actually, I think we'll be doubling up for the 5th time tonight, if that's the case. But 4 cautions and over 20 lead changes. 3 cautions. See? I'm losing my mind, Morgan. I'm progressively, I think turning 32 does that to you.
I don't know what that's like, Bradley. I can't tell you. I'm only 26, so.
Well, you have a lot to look forward to. You'll have new experiences every day of your life at a certain age.
Good. Good.
It'll be the first time every time. Dakota Floyd in first for the first time today. Justin Ritchie in second. Brian Hennings third. The 818 staying consistently up there. That's Stephen Aguirre in fourth. Dylan Disbro in fifth. I would like to see the Wonder Bread lead a lap. That's what I've been looking forward to all night. I'd say for this restart, we turn up the volume as loud as we can on your smart device or your laptop, and we ride on board with the shake and bake Ricky Bobby. I think that's where we're going to go as soon as this green flag comes out. But I'm excited to see this finish. I hope it happens under green. But we do have overtime. We have green-white checkers on if needed. And for those of you at home that don't understand how that works, we will take, if a caution comes out within 5 laps to go, we will reset the field in their frozen positions and extend the race by 3 laps. The drivers will take the green flag. If they make it back around to the white flag, the race will be official. If they don't make it to the white flag before another wreck, they'll re-rack it and add another 3 laps again. So here we go. Let's see if we can make it to the very end of this thing. The 24 up front. We're on board here with the 7 of Disbro. Let's see what Ricky Bobby has in store for us. Green flag is out, and we're back live in racing at Talladega. And I tell you what, after that lap, Dylan Disbro is doing a phenomenal job pushing the back of that 24 truck. But they're 3 wide for the lead here as we cut to camera 2. It is a battle. Hennings on the very outside. Richie with the damage on the right front. In the middle, Stewart pushing him. The 24 falls back. That inside line falls off, and the 41 giving a push to the 55 where he probably shouldn't have, but it works out. And they make a hole. The inside line has to check up that Zinjin that gets cut down on the apron down the backstretch. They're still working on wrecking here. The 74 tries to pull the 818 in front of Gardner, your pole sitter, who's survived this long. Gardner's been in the midst of every wreck here tonight. He's got scuffs all over those doors, but he's escaped through every single one of them tonight.
Sometimes it's better be lucky than good, right? Sometimes you just have to have everything fall your way. The bounces go right, and you just drive through the middle. A couple scrapes on either side, narrow it up, a little more speed in the straightaway.
It's when you just run out of that luck, and you never know when that's going to happen. But Gardner, he's got the rabbit's foot, the 4-leaf clover, everything up on the dash here, and running in the top 5 in the closing laps. These guys are acting like it's lap 74. They're crazy up here in the front.
This is the first time we've seen the 55 and the 41 up in the top 5 here all night. And these guys practice this a lot, this restrictor plate kind of racing. Both Orange Speed drivers. Ooh, that was a bit of a miscue right there. Richie got sent off the nose of the 74. It's going to shuffle him back. Kyle Stewart might lead this lap if all goes according to plan. Looks like the 74 is going to get him at the line. Just as I was saying, they were
47
doing
of
well.
Buell. That was, yeah, they're doing all right still. Richie, though, he has that damage, and it's probably affecting the 41, and he didn't want to lose his teammate, but it was probably not. It wasn't going to last with the 55 up in the front.
Yeah,
I think
55 just can't lead with all that parachute on the front. You're going to have to be the pusher, and it just wasn't. If that order was flipped around, they'd have a better chance, but they have to work really hard to get back up to each other now.
Yeah, he gets shuffled out of line, falls all the way back to about the 13th position, 15th rather. And now it's side by side between the 818 and the 74. More of what we saw at the beginning of this race. Aguirre's going to lead a lap, I believe, this time by Nick Gardner. Going to give him a good shove here coming off the tri-oval. Three wide Bruin behind them. That's the 8 of Langton. Langton finally back on the lead lap. It took him 4 cautions to get there, but he got it.
Perseverance.
First 3.
Yeah, now he's firmly in the top 10 right now. Good for him. Good little recovery.
I thought he was going to dive down in front of the 9 there. Thought better of it. He gets left out to dry, but he only loses about 3 spots. The 7 of Disbro had a great head of steam, but all these drivers on the outside have kind of dominoed in front of him. And now you can see he's got a good cushion there in front of, with the 24 of Dakota Floyd. The inside line that started this restart, they're falling out of the top 5 slowly. There's Gardner now with the 5 of Phillips on the back bumper. He's probably going to get a good head of steam as the 818 dropped down in front of Hennings. We've seen, what, 5 lead changes in the last two miles?
Yeah, unfortunately, they're only counted at the stripe, or else we'd have, I'd have to say we'd have to be in the 60s, 70s for lead changes.
Oh, I don't think our graphic could handle how many lead changes. That number would be too big.
We'd have more integer rollover errors.
Yes. And we've seen what the ATVO overlays like to do with lead changes when we do replay broadcasts. That's probably what it would actually be if we were able to keep track of that stat through the racetrack at timing lines. I don't know that iRacing, I mean, we were able to keep our timing and scoring in check, but I don't think they're able to factor in an actual lead change until it crosses the line. Officially, that is the lead change, whoever leads that lap. And the 818 with a big head of steam. He has nobody contesting him. Are these drivers looking to pit? Because it looks like some single file. Oh, man, the 9 goes up in front of the 16. I thought they were going to wreck.
That was a close one for sure. And the 44 is going to do the same. And the 9 ducks out again. 9's going to get turned here if he's not careful.
Yeah, he needs to keep it in position right behind the 44. I think dampening needs turned up on that wheel. It looks like every time he gets in a turbulent situation, that truck just snaps whatever direction it wants. And he might need to turn up the dampening or a center spring because it looks like it's really, the truck is just moving him around, jostling from force feedback. I don't think it's driver error. I think he's just got some torque pushing him around the racetrack, and the wind on these trucks, it's really bad about pulling you around when a guy in front of you moves out of line.
Yeah, we had showed earlier Disbro when he was in his cockpit there, and the wheel moved ever so slightly back and forth. That's not the driver wanting to turn left and right. That's just the driver correcting the turbulence, as Bradley's talking about, to keep them from driving one way or the other into the fence or into the car below them.
Speaking of turbulence, the 41 of Stewart, he was swatting flies in the cockpit there. He was weaving back and forth hard, and I don't think he actually got any bumps, or he was just loose coming off a 4. Now gets up on the bumper of Allgaier, and that's not quite where you want to do it, but he's going to be glued to the back end through the exit of turn 2. We've got about 5 laps to go after they cross the line this time by, and the 74, the 5 on the outside, they've got a big head of steam. I think Hennings is going to clear, and he drops down in front of Allgaier. There is the 44 of Cleveland, who we haven't really mentioned too much tonight in the closing laps. He's up front. You could throw a blanket over top of this top 15. They are that tight. 5 laps to go now as they cross the line. Hennings in the lead. Cleveland trying to take it away. The 5 had a good head of steam, but they lost it. Langton falls back. The 7 of Disbro jumps to the outside line. You're watching from about 7th, 8th position back. These guys are still 3 wide. And someone's going to jump out of line here. I can see it brewing. I think the 9 wants to get up in front of the 5. He tried it on the backstretch, but the hole wasn't there. Now pushing for Langton. That hole really closing up, and the 5 of Phillips starting to get the steam built back up. That freight train's trying to roll on the outside, but it doesn't look like it's going to be working for at least another couple of laps. If anyone jumps up in front of them, we can have another caution. The guys from about 6th place on back just have to be content with running where they are until someone makes a mistake or gets shoved out of line. You're starting to see the pinching now. A little contact with the 9. Richards gets into the side of the 24 of Floyd. They're still 3 wide coming off a 2. Let's go on board with the 9 and see what his wheel's doing. There you see, watch him go into this corner, and it just looks like turbulence all the way through. It's very hard as a driver to focus on the dotted lines on this racetrack and knowing where you are location-wise. When you have all these guys around you moving around, you see the 41 of Stewart in contact back behind him. The pack breaks up. The 8 of Langton gets shuffled out. 7 of Disbro. These guys all fall back. The 10 of Fagone. Almost a caution, but we're going to stay green. Sorry about that. I know I'm making the cameraman work extra hard here, but there's so much going on all over this racetrack. Buell gets into the side of the 9, I believe. Gets back in line now. He falls back about 2 positions. The head of steam from Cleveland. The 16 trying to shove the 9 of Richards up to the back bumper of the 44. He was off of it the entire backstretch. They're going to lose more ground. The 44 needs a pusher, and the 9's not cutting it. They're going to lose a couple positions, and now the 44 are looking for a partner. The 41 almost jumps up in front of him. Stewart sitting in 3rd, and the 5 of Phillips goes around. The 6 spins him around. Yellow flag's not out. We're going to stay green. But the 5 of Phillips falls all the way out of the top 10. Let's take that back on an instant replay if we can really quickly. I know we got 2 to go. If not, it's fine. I want to go back and see this really quickly. The 5 of Phillips gets thrown, just chucked up the racetrack here through the tri-oval.
We got sent by the 6 up into the 16.
And that's going to do it for Nick Gardner as well. Back to a live shot as they come off of turn 4. It's neck and neck for the lead. That looks like the 24 Floyd has some help from the 44 of Cleveland. White flag in the air, presented by VRX Simulators. And Floyd does not get the help. 818 of Allgaier goes around, and the 41 of Henning. It's Stewart and Floyd into the inside wall hard. Destroyed truck. John Buell is the leader, but he's not going to hold it for long. They've got 4 other trucks here that have the momentum. The 9, the 72, they're pinching each other. The 9 really squeezes the 44 for whatever reason. And now John Buell has the lead coming off of turn. Oh my goodness, what are they doing?
Richie.
Here's the 55
They're
on the
darn
outside.
each other.
I think the
They're
55
wrecking
is
each other.
They're wrecking each other down to the
Through the
apron,
grass.
onto the grass. The 55 comes across the line just short of it.
Got
He's
him.
going to finish it.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if...
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen a finish like that at Talladega.
Talk about passing the grass. That was one of the craziest finishes I have ever seen. Wow. Oh.
We're going to have to rewind about 3 minutes to figure this all out. Let's go back on the instant replay and see how this all unfolds. Here's the... Well, we go back even further. Richie was out of this race. I mean, he was in a spot where he could finish top 10, but he was out of contention. He was off the draft. I mean, he had really no shot unless somebody got behind him and pushed him up there. And even then, it was going to be tough because of that damage. But you see him come around here after the guys in front of him. So let's get on Brian Hennings and look what happens with the 818. Let's cycle to him. The 818 dives it down to the apron here as they exit turn 2. This is the white flag in the air. And I think Hennings gets bobbled and weaved. He gets thrown to the inside. Go on board with the 16 there. Let's back that up 20 seconds. And look at the 16. He goes for one hell of a ride down to the inside. He hits the inside wall. I mean... Okay, that's actually not the truck I thought.
That didn't seem right.
That's not the... No, that was not the truck I thought it was. Let's go back up to the... There was another truck that gets shot to the inside here and hits the inside wall with the 74 of Hennings, and I can't figure out who it is. Hennings, there he is, smoking and broken there. Let's back it up again.
Oh, was it Richards?
It was Floyd.
It was
Floyd.
Floyd?
Yeah, the Floyd, the 24 truck, just slams the inside wall the same way Hennings did, rips the whole nose off of it. And then you had these 3. I don't know why the 9 leans down on the 44. These guys have the momentum that they can get up there and catch Buell, but instead they wreck each other.
And then Stewart and Daniels right here, just a huge crash for, again, no real reason.
Yeah, these guys could just drive their line and battle it out at the finish. But yeah, and then these two doors slap each other, and Buell just sends it down to the inside. I think Buell ends up with a third place finish. Rick
And here
Fagot
comes the 10. And
the 10 almost gets it at the line. We're talking about 0.2 of a second. Richie just had to drive that thing back to the surface to keep it straight long enough to get to the finish line. Incredible finish.
unreal.
And they finished it under green. They waited until that white flag came out to get totally off the wall crazy. But yeah, Justin Ritchie, your winner here tonight. We're going to have post-race interviews with your top three. We're going to take another quick commercial break. You're watching the SET Truck Series at Talladega, live on VSPEED. Back after this. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit. A custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Dweck.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point. Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here live, we actually have, go ahead and hit hide all on that. The winner of Justin Ritchie, there is the correct graphic, the 55, able to get it done. We completed 75 laps in our regularly scheduled timing. We no overtime here tonight, but it was a crazy finish. If you were just joining us, it was a pretty clean race. We had 4 cautions to complete the night, but ultimately the biggest wrecks happening on the white flag the last time around. VRX Simulators presenting that white flag, and it was a great one. But we're catching up down on pit road. We're going to pull in a few of these drivers and talk to, first we're going to talk to the number 7 of Dylan Disbro. Let's move him. The number 7, Dylan Disbro. It's Bradley Cooper and Morgan Cook in the VSPEED booth. Do you got a copy?
I sure do. What's going on, guys?
Well, you were looking calm, cool, and collected. I saw a few slingshots engaged here tonight, but overall, once it looked like you lost your Kyle Naughton Jr. here tonight, you weren't quite able to get back up to the front.
Well, the car handled real good. Um, we were just the car handled real good. I don't know what to do with my hands. Um,
So you're in full uniform here tonight. You are committed to selling this, and I know that you guys had this planned out. You guys look good. I
oh
will
yeah.
say that it was okay that yours wasn't movie quality, though. I'm going to go with
Oh,
another
listen,
barrel
all right.
film, and
I was just here for the fun. All right. I got lucky that I even got involved in this. So that's all Riley's doing, man. I'm just here for fun.
I tell you tonight, the catastrophe that we called the white flag. What was going through your head when we were coming up on that last turn?
Well,
Did you think I might have it?
on the last run, it was Sean, Ross, and I up in the top lane. We were trying to make the outside work. Everybody was running so good, and so we were trying to make something work up top. We weren't getting it done in the top lane, just in the middle. So as we're coming to the white flag, I'm in like 13th, and then I hear they're wrecking, and I'm like, okay, great. And I'm in the wreck. Now I'm slow. So I get hooked up with, I think it was Randy, I want to say, the 00. And man, we were just pushing ourselves around the track. I'm all the way in last, trying my best to just putt around the track. Then I hear they're wrecking again. Oh, they're wrecking again. I'm like, all right, I might be able to get a top 10 here. That'd be cool. Ended up in 4th, man. I don't know what the heck happened. Just smoke everywhere, and I keyed up on the mic, and I was like, Randy, lead me through this, man. I don't want to die.
Yeah, there was about 7 different incidents from the point of taking the white flag to getting back around for the checker, and the finishing of Justin Ritchie and John Buell. Ritchie takes it all the way to the grass across the exit of pit road and bounces off the outside wall 10 feet in front of the finish line and wins by 0.2 of a second.
Wow, that's interesting. Holy moly! Yeah, see, I didn't even get to see any of that. I finished like 10 seconds behind them in 4th.
Yeah, the entire top 7 killed each other in turns 3 and 4 all the way through to the tri-oval. It was very interesting. We had no clue who was going to win that race, and I mean, I don't think you had a clue who actually got the win because of how much chaos there was.
I didn't know until I was coming down the pit road and I seen Richie's number 1 pass by me on the relative. I'm like, man, what the heck happened? that was interesting. But it's one of those things. Like, it's a super speedway. Obviously, there's going to be big wrecks. You never know where you're going to finish until the very end. And I'm just happy that I got a top 10 tonight. Like, I didn't think that I was going to be anywhere near it at the very end there, being involved in that wreck. So I'm happy. I'm extremely ecstatic about a top 5. Like, I had no idea that was even in the cards for me. So it's super speedway racing, man. Everybody wrecks. Everybody, you never know what do they call it? The car owner's worst nightmare. All I hear is the cha-ching noise from the cash register.
Oh, for sure. Yep, that's the dice roll that we call Talladega. It costs a lot of money to come here, and not because you have to get here. It's leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to find all the pieces on the racetrack. That's why drivers used to paint their parts so they could go back and find all their pieces to leave this place. But What we got you up here in the booth here tonight, 4th place finisher Dylan Desbro. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
I gotta shout out my girlfriend, man. She's been super supportive this whole time. I've been transitioning jobs. I just transitioned to being a licensed health advisor now. So and she's been supporting me the entire time, man. It's a big help having somebody there to support you through these things. And now I get to race every Monday and not have to worry about anything else. I go to work and I come to race, and I'm happy. So that's my big shout out for the night.
Balance. Shout out to balance and being able to do what you like to do. Dylan, congratulations on 4th place. I know that it was chaos, but you're able to survive just long enough to come across that line. Fourth place finisher Dylan Disbro. Thank you for your time.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
So now let's move on. We have the top two. We could not find John Buell. He gets third place here tonight. So we'll congratulate him on that third place finish in the 47. Had a chance to win. Took it through and mowed the grass for free here at Talladega. But now it's your second place finisher. We have Rick Fagone in the number 10. Second place here tonight. And I believe that is Morgan Cook down on pit road with him.
The Koopa.
Yeah,
What are you
Rick.
doing, bub?
That was a crazy finish, and you've just about got Richie, who was spinning through the grass off the tri-oval. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Oh, well, I wasn't sure who the leader was. I was hoping I'd already passed him. The way nobody wanted to finish the race that lap, so I figured I was going to get up there and sneak one out, but
Yeah, you
I
got
still
that
made
right.
a sneak a second spot, and that's pretty good coming to the white flag, 10th place. I saw everybody just slicing and dicing. I decided to lift and let them do it, and I wish I hadn't now, because I'd have had enough momentum to probably get that 0.2 of a second on Justin to cross that line in front of him, but I still would have had to have driven past him as he's going to the outside wall. So just a wild lap, unexpected runner-up tonight. I'm happy with it. Take it.
They did a whale of a job, moved up 19 spots in the running order, started at the back, and yeah, you ended up finishing P2 tonight. Really a great race, and that's going to help the championship, as most of the other contenders didn't have that great of finishes. Should be able to gain some points here. But
well, I'm not really point racing. I know I'm quite well off the lead to do much, but I can hopefully improve my position at the end of it, and hopefully I can get my wheel stuff here figured out so I can a little more confident on the longer run. I know I've been burning the right front tires off at every race we've been to, so a lot of time off this year. Time to get back into it this winter.
Right on. Anyone you want to thank?
Oh, well, I got to thank Richard. I know he's busy with work this time of year. He got another couple, 3-4 weeks of it left, and I got to thank them. Thank Mr. Koopa, my little brother that I wish I'd never had. Thank you up there in the booth for doing this, and thank all the admins for keeping everybody honest. So, and everybody that makes this league go. I've had a lot of fun all through my struggles, but I'm glad to be here, be part of it.
Right on. We're glad to have you in here. Bradley, got anything else?
Hey, man, congrats. I know it's been a tough season for you. Maybe this will kind of help alleviate some of the rough starts you've had this season. And I think here with you being tied, you were just outside the top 10, so you should be back up there in the top 10 in points. Unofficially, I would say you're probably sitting around 8th after tonight with the second place finish. But congratulations, Ricky. And hopefully this is the start of the turnaround, buddy.
Appreciate it. Do you think I'd make it through this interview without dropping a few F-bombs, Brad?
I wasn't sure, but you got it.
Well, there you go. Shock and awe, baby. I'll take a runner-up night. Say I feel the same way about that finish.
We appreciate your time, Ricky, and we hope to see you maybe up here in the booth again before the end of the season.
Hopefully. Not at Gateway, though. We'll see you later.
Second place finisher here tonight, Rick Fagone. And finally, it comes down to one driver, and I don't even know what we're going to say to him because I don't think he knows how he finished this race, let alone won it. Ah, man, coming across the line. Did anybody actually want to make it to the finish line here tonight?
Apparently not, dude. Oh my gosh, that was... I'm going to keep it chill for the broadcast, but I have some strong feelings about that finish.
We had door slapping from turn 2 exit, down the backstretch, into 3. The 9 of Richards bounces off the 44 of Cleveland, pushes him down into what I think was the 62 maybe, or the 72. Daniels gets involved.
I think it was Daniels, yeah.
They wrecked continuously for 2.5 miles, and then you and John Buell coming through the tri-oval. Did you expect to door slap so hard, or was it just like we're going to pinch each other, and then suddenly it got out of control?
No, so I mean, I'm watching it right now, so I might have a better opinion. But I was like, all right, I'm just gonna bait him low. I'm gonna go high because he tried to block me high, and then he tries to side draft me, hits me, gets loose, and then decides neither of us are finishing the race. I guess I don't know how I saved it. My wheel inputs were absolutely nuts. But yeah, that's just personally not how I would have liked the race to finish, whether I won or came in second. I just don't think there's any need for that type of over aggressive racing to the point of possibly neither of us finishing.
Well, I know that there was a lot of aggression on that last lap. We had the 818 try to dive after the 74 of Hennings got loose on the exit of 2, and that's really what started all of it. I think the chain reaction started right there out of the exit of 2. What was going through your mind as that unfolded after turn 2 and then into turn 3?
Yeah, so I had some front end damage from my glorious pit entry on that first pit cycle. So
Yeah.
I knew I was down on my straight line speed if I wasn't in the draft, and I was just far enough to not catch that lead pack. So I was content with just riding it out, getting a top 10 and being done with it. Then we come off a 2 and I see him wrecking, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go as low as I can to avoid everybody. And I did that, almost got 2 people that were ricocheting off of the inside wall. And I was like, okay, there's just like 4 positions. I'm cool with that too. But everybody in that front pack checked up because they had to. So I had a massive run on pretty much every car on the track at that point. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see where this goes. And then 3 could not go into 1. So I got around the sandwich up there. And then, yeah, it was just a mano a mano battle.
Yeah, when you divide 1 by 3, it doesn't work.
No.
Mathematically impossible. And then you find yourself side by side with John Buell coming out of the exit of 4. You baited him. He baited you. He took you to the grass. You guys mowed it for free. And then you paint the outside wall 0.2 of a second ahead of Rick Fagone to come across that line.
Yeah, man. When I was in the grass, I didn't think I was getting to the line. But Ross was in my ear just screaming, stay in it, stay in it. Or maybe it was Sean, one of them was. And I was like, all right, I have nothing to lose. So we'll just try to ride this out and see what happens. And, well, best case scenario, got lucky again. We'll take it.
Riding the lightning to victory here. The 55 of Justin Ritchie, Orange Speed. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out for one heck of a finish?
Yeah, man. Just, all the Orange Speed dudes. I'm too tired, honestly, to go through all of them. But, Ryan, Morgan, Garrett, Sean, Morgan, Kyle. I'm probably missing people. But all of them, all of VSPEED putting on probably another amazing broadcast. And just, everybody that races in this league and helps us do what we enjoy doing. We're all out here on our free time to do what we enjoy. So pretty sick to have such a solid group of people.
Well, congratulations on the win here. I believe your first win of the season, if I'm correct.
Second
Win. Okay.
Yeah, both at the plate tracks. So do they even count?
There you go.
He won Atlanta earlier in the season.
Yeah.
There you go. Dominant performance here in the plate tracks. And I tell you what, I looked back there and I said, Richie was out of this race, and that all happened and brought you right back up to it. So congrats on that. I know that a little luck goes a long way here at Talladega, but we appreciate your time, Justin. We got 2 races left here, and we're going to be wrapping it up. So good time to start winning races again.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Here's a question for you, Justin. Do you know how many laps you've led at Restrictor Plate Tracks this season?
2.
I think it's 2. Yeah, the last lap of each of them. So good on you.
Yep. The
There
2
you
most
go.
important ones. We'll take it.
Yep.
Right on.
They don't ask you how, they ask you how many.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Appreciate your time, Justin Ritchie, and hopefully we get to talk to you again up here in the booth, but we'll look forward to next week.
Doubtful, but fingers crossed. Appreciate y'all.
First place finisher, Justin Ritchie in the number 55. He had every corner of that truck tore off, but he's able to get it across the line. Let's bring up that final finishing order. We'll switch it to grid B-roll and talk about how this all shakes out. The 55, the 10, and the 47, the top 3. Then you have Dylan Disbro going to round out with Teresa Spiker, highest finish of the season for the number 70, getting 5th place here tonight. Randy Solé is going to finish 6th. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So I can say the 0-0 of Randy Solé finishes 6th. Got the 44 of Cleveland in 7th. Got Zinjan in 8th. Daniels coming back for 9th, and Ross, who had control of this race many times, lets it slip through his fingers to finish in P10.
Nick Gardner's going to bring it home in 11th. Tough finish for your pole sitter here tonight. And the 818, who stayed in the top 5 for 74 of the 75 laps, finishes in 13th. Dakota Floyd with a hard inside impact to the wall. He's going to bring it home in 14th. 15th position, Kyle Stewart. Another one of the drivers that was up front for most of this race, back to the 16th place driver, Benjamin Richards. These drivers were all in that last lap catastrophe, so if you could put that in perspective, Brian Hennings was leading coming out of turn 2. He's going to finish 16th, Johnson New 17th. Riley Laverne in the 19, never able to get back on the lead lap. He finishes 18th. And I'm missing my 19th place driver. I think he was Sean Langton. So my timing and scoring got a little bit confused here tonight. Some of these guys maybe exiting the racetrack early or getting not finished, but timing and scoring just broken here. I've got two 20 place drivers with Justin Mullins in that group. Then it goes with Wade Palmer, Thad Miller going to finish out the field. And then you have the name of Garrett Helmlinger, who was track steward here tonight in the 23rd position. I'd like to thank Garrett for doing what was probably going to be a lot of busy work here after post-race. And he's got a lot of work to do to sort out, because I know that these guys are going to be angry with each other. But yeah, let's just say that it was a great race here tonight. 75 laps, 200 miles. Morgan, do you have any final thoughts for tonight's race?
That was not what I was expecting. Crazy finish of this race. Talladega never disappoints. And don't forget to like and subscribe on VSPEED.
Well, we thank you for your time. If you did enjoy it, make sure you do hit the subscribe button so you never miss a single race. The SET Truck Series will be back live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday nights. And tomorrow night, make sure you join us at 8:35 p.m. Eastern. BTDY Cup Series is going to be going live and racing. And they, too, are in the playoff/chase format for their championship. You can see that live here on VSPEED 1. And coming in January, we've got a lot of action. And just after Christmas, the schedule is going to be chaotic. VSPEED will be live simultaneously with multiple different leagues. And we'll get that full schedule for you posted as soon as we get it confirmed. But for everybody at VSPEED, Adam Baker, my helper and producer here tonight, Morgan Cook, and Eddie Smith, this is Brandley Cooper signing off, telling you to have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count up to 37.
Oh!
No, it's burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.